Amber jewellery salvaged from the sunken Russian cruise liner Mikhail Lermontov 26 years ago has now been turned into pieces of wearable art by Wellington jeweller Ian Douglas and his team at the Village Goldsmith in Wellington. Lermontov Lost and Found features 24 works which will be displayed at an exhibition at the Museum Hotel's Billiard Room in Wellington from next Monday for just a week. The Village Goldsmith's creative director Ian Douglas has mixed the Baltic amber jewellery with power and greenstone and other wonderful art to make larger-than-life works which show jewellery as an art form with obvious links to this country. Ian and his team were winners of the National Jewellery Design Awards in 2009 and 2010 and also did well at the George A. Schwartz Design Competition in 2010 and 11. One of Ian's designs was a finalist in this year's Asian IU Inaugural Design Awards for Colour Gem Jewellery. Another of his designs made the finals of the JAA Design Awards in Australia also this year. And Ian Douglas joins us now. Welcome, Ian.
Good afternoon, Eva.
So how did you get hold of all this amber jewellery?
Well, I actually came into possession of it not long after the ship actually sunk. I know Bill Day from Seaworks, and Bill was the salver of the ship. And about, I think, a year after it went down, he salvaged the tourist shop. And out of that, he cleared the most amazing amber jewellery. It had spent obviously some time under the water at that point. And
so what did it look like? Did it still look like amber?
Oh, yeah. The fantastic thing about the amber is that, in fact, it's completely unaffected by the seawater.
It's hard enough, is it?
It's a fossilised gum, so it's a tree gum, very similar to like kauri gum, like our kauri gum, but it's been fossilised, so it's much harder, and that's why it's quite suitable for jewellery. And so that part of it was completely unaffected. The settings, though, a lot of this was, of course, made-up pieces of jewellery. There were brooches and pendants, earrings, cufflinks, all sorts of things. A lot of the metal that was accompanying the amber was brass or silver, these sorts of things. And after a year of being under the water, of course, that had become very tarnished and very changed. Yeah, absolutely. And so Bill came to me and he had this bag of amber jewellery. And
we're talking quite a large bag, though.
A decent-sized shopping bag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Full of amber jewellery.
Full of amber jewellery. It was just incredible. And Bill, he and I talked about various things, and we made and we fixed up some of these pieces, and he kept them for friends and family. And essentially then it got forgotten about. And
you mean you forgot about it?
I forgot about it, as did Bill. We both forgot about it, and it languished in the shopping bag, ending up in a cardboard box. And we moved into our new premises, well, down in the central city in the Dominion building about 15 years ago. Prior to that, we'd been up in Kelburn, where I first met Bill. And the jewellery just really sat in this box. I'd forgotten about it in the back of a storage unit for all that time. And recently I had an email from one of our clients in Switzerland who said to me, Ian, he said, I want you to design something using power and amber, which is, a very unlikely mix. There's sort of colours that you think, no, that's just not going to work.
Just sounds wrong, doesn't it?
It does. But it really sparked an inspiration. And at the same time, what it reminded me of was that somewhere I had this bag of amber jewellery. So we tracked it down and got it out. And, of course, having then just sat in a bag, the effects of the corrosion in that over that time had obviously magnified. And again, whilst the amber was unaffected, the settings around these pieces had just changed so much. But it was quite a revealing moment. We looked at these things, and each one of them, you could see, had a bit of a story about them. And it was from that email from our client, we designed a piece combining the power and amber and realised just how effective and how striking it was. And that really led us to this idea of, there is such a story and such a plethora of inspiration here. Let's do something special with it. Let's create a whole exhibition based around this idea. So I contacted Bill again and ran the idea past him, and he just leapt at it. He thought this was a great idea. So consequently, yeah, that's where it's all evolved from.
And I want to ask you especially about one piece, because it's not for sale. It's named Aldo, and at the back of the booklet advertising the collection, there's a special tribute to Aldo Matucci.
Yes. And Aldo was the gentleman in Switzerland who was the wonderful client of ours, and tremendously generous and artistic man. And it was his inspiration, as I say. It was his email that led to this whole experience, if you like. So his piece features as the very first piece in the catalogue. But of course, yes, that's certainly his piece.
Yeah, and it's quite a distinctive piece. They're all quite unique, of course. But can you describe Aldo? The piece.
I was going to say the gentleman or the piece.
Well, a bit of both, maybe.
Aldo is
he going to wear this?
No, it's for his wife. And Aldo is a person who, he's a wonderful writer, philosopher, and collector. He collects unique and unusual jewellery, has a wonderful collection. And whilst he lived in New Zealand for some years, he commissioned us to make quite a few different pieces. And as he just has wonderful taste. He likes things that are different and that take a lot of craftsmanship. He doesn't buy, should we say, off the shelf sort of pieces. And as I say, it was his inspiration. So when we first went through the bag, I looked at all sorts of different pieces, and there were two particular sections of amber that were amber brooches. And the settings they were destroyed with the time they'd spent under the water. So we used the two pieces of amber, and they're two different colours, two different shapes, but they seem to have a link. And knowing Aldo and his wife very well, I kind of just laid these pieces out and drew it up with Sylvie in mind. And really it's her piece designed specifically around her style.
And I think one of your people who work for you at the Village Goldsmith was the actual jeweller who put the works together?
Chris Person is a fantastic jeweller who's worked for me now for some years, and he's a person who, so to speak, has spent a lot of his life working for different jewellery companies here in New Zealand and overseas, and I think whose talent really has been hidden under a bushel. And it's been fantastic for us to actually have some time. And Chris has been working fairly solidly now for the last 4 months, just making up all these pieces. So it's his incredibly hard work and, determination to make these pieces real, which has been so gratifying. And it's been really lovely watching him take some time and be able to spend time to really explore his own talents and his own abilities and see those grow as well. And all credit to him, he's just done a superb job. Really what I did with a lot of these pieces was develop the basic design concept, and then hand it all over to Chris and let him do his thing with it. And he would add his own style and touch to the whole thing. So,
because it's quite unique to take old jewellery or jewellery that come from a different source, totally not your taste maybe, and transform it into something uniquely New Zealand, isn't it?
That's right.
I mean, have you ever done anything like this before?
Not really, not at all. No. We do a lot of commission work, and we do develop a lot of new and unusual pieces for people. But this is quite a different experience for us, yes. In all these cases, though, we've tried to be very, very faithful to what those pieces originally were, because even though in a lot of cases they were mass production pieces, you could actually see there was a real sense of style and a real kind of energy about those pieces, and we didn't want to take that away. I think as jewellers it's our right to respect that, and that's why, as I say, we've tried to kind of enhance them and develop them rather than change them into something that they never were. So it's about creating, for us, a whole new look, a whole new style, but also having some fun with it at the same time, create new objects that don't necessarily look like ordinary pieces of jewellery.
No, they don't. Do you have a favourite?
Probably the crow's nest, simply because of the fact that it was one of the more complex ones. It was an idea in my head, and that did require a lot of drawing, because just to get that right, to get the three dimensions of it, to get the whole flowing pattern correct, that took a lot of time, and I think how Chris has finally rendered that.
It positively glows in the photo, doesn't it?
And well, in real life, honestly, it does that 10 times more. It's
orange is the colour of the moment, of course, Ian, so you're in fashion now.
Well, that was completely accidental, because it really was. It was just the fact that this thing has evolved. Fortuitously, we're hitting the fashion scene correctly, but that was just a fluke, believe me.
And if somebody wants to buy it for me, straight to the heart's my one, okay?
Okay, we'll keep that in mind
Large
for you,
piece
of
Baltic amber power pierced by a piece of power.
Yes, exactly. And again, simple, but literally striking, isn't it?
Very striking. Hey, well, nice to talk to you, Ian. So on show at the Museum Hotel's Billiard Room for a week from next Monday.
Yes, that's right. It's open from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's free entry, so the public can go along and have a good look, and I think it will really tell the story. So we're looking forward to seeing everyone there.
Oh, very nice to talk to you.